Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing limitations. So let's get started. So an aircraft in flight must observe certain speed limitations. Okay. So there is a maximum speed limit. If you cross this limit, there might be structural damage to the aircraft. Whereas if you go below the minimum speed, the aircraft will stall. Okay. These speed limits may be set by various considerations like the strength of the aircraft, the stiffness of the aircraft, and adequate control of the aircraft. Okay. So what is strength and stiffness? So strength is the ability of the structure to withstand a load. Okay, withstand a load or withstand a force. And stiffness is the ability to withstand deformation. Okay. So next is aeroelasticity. So aircraft, as we know, it's an elastic structure. It is not rigid. Okay. So this is because if you see the aircraft while on ground, the wings look something like this. Okay. But when the aircraft is in the air, the wing bend upwards due to the aerodynamic lift force. Okay. So if the aircraft wasn't elastic, the wings would have broken off. Okay. So it is important that the aircraft is designed in such a way that it can handle these aerodynamic loads. And for that, it has to be elastic. Okay. So the aerodynamic force, which is lift, is proportional to V square. Okay. The aircraft must be designed so that the speed at which divergence occurs. Okay. Divergence is basically structural failure. So the speed at which divergence occurs is higher than the design speed, which is Vd. Okay. So now we'll look at some definitions. Elasticity. No structure is perfectly rigid. Okay. So the structure of the aircraft is designed to be as light as possible. This results in the aircraft being a fairly flexible structure. The amount of flexibility will depend upon various factors like the aspect ratio, the sweep back of the wing, taper ratio, etc. Okay. Backlash, it is the movement of control surface without any input from the pilot. Next is divergence. So divergence is basically when you fly above a particular maximum speed, the aerodynamic loads are so high that it can cause structural damage. It can basically just rip off the wing. Okay, you can see this here. Next is flutter. So flutter happens when the applied frequency matches the natural frequency of the structure. Okay. So for example, due to a gust, if the aircraft starts vibrating at its natural frequency, the amplitude of vibration will keep on increasing. Okay. This will keep on increasing and finally cause the aircraft structure to be damaged completely. So next is load factor. It is given by lift by weight. Okay. So in level flight, lift and weight are equal. Okay, so load factor is equal to 1. If the aircraft is performing a maneuver such that lift is twice the weight, okay, this could be the possibility when you are doing a steep bank. Okay, if the aircraft is banking, okay, the lift has to balance the weight as well as the centripetal force. So the requirement of lift increases. Okay, so there is a load factor limit beyond which the aircraft cannot go. If it goes, then it may cause structural damage to the aircraft. Okay. So first is design limit load. It is the maximum load that the designer would expect the airframe or component to experience in service. Okay. So depending upon the category of aircraft, the design limit load factor is different. Okay. So for transport category, it is positive 2.5 Gs and negative 1 Gs. Okay. For utility aircraft, it is positive 4.4 and negative 1.76, and for aerobic, it is positive 6 and minus 3. Next is design ultimate load. It is given by design limit load multiplied by the safety factor. The safety factor is generally 1.5. Okay. So design ultimate load is giving an additional safety margin. Okay, so the structure must withstand the design ultimate load without collapse. Next is safety factor. It is the ratio of design ultimate load to design limit load. Okay. Then we have the maneuver envelope or the flight envelope. So on the y-axis we have the load factor. On the x-axis we have the speed. Okay. So lift is given by half rho v square CLS. Okay. So if we want to increase the load factor, we will increase the lift. Okay. And to increase the lift, you can do two things. Either you can increase the speed or you can increase the angle of attack. Okay. So what they have done here in this graph is, this curve that you are seeing, this is the curve of maximum CL, maximum angle of attack. Okay. So you are keeping your angle of attack at the maximum value and you are slowly increasing your speed. Okay. So as you are increasing your speed, the load factor increases. Okay. It will increase up to a particular point beyond which you cannot go. Okay. So this is your design load limit. Next, if you increase your angle of attack in the opposite direction, you will get a line like this. So all along this line, you have your negative CL max. And your design limit load in the opposite direction is -1. Okay. So positive it is 2.5, negative it is -1. Now if you increase your angle of attack beyond this point, so as we know, all along this line it is 16 degrees or your critical angle of attack. Okay. So if you increase your angle of attack beyond these points, you will enter into a stall. So here, if you go to the left of this line, you will enter into a stall. So the design limit load factor is maintained till point C, after which the margins reduce. So to have a safe flight, you have to be within this envelope. Okay. If you go outside this margin, there is a possibility that your aircraft may experience structural deformation or even structural failure. Okay. So up to your design ultimate load, if you go above your DLL, so between this there will be structural deformation, and if you go above DUL, design ultimate load, you will have structural failure. Okay. In case of structural deformation, your wing may bend, but in case of a structural failure, your whole wing may rip off. Okay. So it is that dangerous. So next is design maneuver speed, which is VA. Okay. So it is the highest speed at which sudden full elevator deflection, which is nose up pitch, can be made without exceeding the design limit load factor. Okay. So we know to increase lift, we can either increase the speed or the angle of attack. Okay. So here, if you are going at a constant speed and you suddenly give full elevator deflection, which is nose up deflection, the angle of attack will increase suddenly. Okay. And your lift will increase suddenly. This sudden increase in lift will increase your load factor. And if you are below VA, you won't exceed the design limit load factor. Okay. So it is the speed at which sudden full elevator deflection can be made without exceeding the design load limit. VA is given by V1SG, which is the stall speed in level flight, square root of N. N is the load factor. Okay. So as weight reduces, the requirement of lift reduces and your stall speed will reduce. And since your stall speed is reducing, your VA will also reduce. Okay. 20% decrease in weight will approximately decrease VA by 10%. Okay. So this is a statement. It is important. Next is design cruising speed. So this is a speed selected by the designer to access the strength requirements in the cruise. Okay. So as you can see, this point corresponds to VC. Okay. And next is VD, design dive speed. So it is the maximum speed which has to be considered when assessing the strength of the aircraft. Okay. So basically what is happening here is they are presuming that you're flying at VC, which is your cruise speed, and if due to some reason you enter into a shallow dive, your speed will temporarily increase, right, until you recover the aircraft. So that speed is known as VD. So this point D corresponds to VD. Next is VB. Okay, so it's the design speed for maximum gust intensity. This is the base speed to calculate the rough air speed or turbulence speed. So what this is exactly, we'll see ahead. Okay, for now, VB must be below VC and above VA. Okay, so all of these things are important. They may ask in the exam. Then operational speed limits. VMO and MMO, we know we are done in detail in the high speed flight chapter. So if you have not seen it, you can check it out in the I button here. So VMO is the max operating speed. It is a speed that may not be deliberately exceeded in any regime of flight. Okay, it is an IAS. VMO must not be greater than VC. Okay, and must be sufficiently below VD. Max operating Mach number. So exceeding MMO will result in formation of shock waves which will cause buffeting. So this buffeting is due to the massive wave drag which is created after the shock wave. Okay, so we have to avoid this as well. So both VMO and MMO are for large aircraft. Okay, so for smaller aircraft we have something known as VNE, which is the never exceed speed. So this diagram, those who have given navigation, you guys might know. Okay, so for now VNO and VNE are important for us. Okay, so VNE is the never exceed speed. So VNE should never be exceeded by the aircraft, whereas VNO is the normal operating cruise speed. Okay, so VNE is set below VD. Okay, and VNE is equal to 0.9 VD. So again, these values might be asked in the exam, so it's good to know stuff. Then we have VNO, it is the normal operating cruise speed. VNO must not be greater than the lesser between VC or 0.89 VNE. Okay, again important these things. Next is VRA-MRA, which is rough air speed or turbulence speed. This is very important. It has been asked multiple times in the DGC exam. Okay, so for flight in turbulence, an airspeed must be chosen to give protection against two possibilities. Okay, so if you are in turbulence, your speed should be high enough to avoid stalling, right? At the same time, it should be low enough to avoid damage to the structure. Okay, so in the exam, this will be the first option, this will be the second option, and in the third option, you will have both. Okay, so both is the right answer. Landing gear speed limitations. So VLE, it is the landing gear extended speed, whereas VLO is the landing gear operating speed. Okay, when it is being extended or when it is being retracted. Okay, so when it is being extended or retracted, the doors must open first. Okay, and these doors are not designed in a way that it can take aerodynamic loads. Okay, so for the safety of the doors, VLO is usually lower than VLE. Next is flap speed limit. So the limit load factor, which is the DLL, okay, with flaps deployed is reduced from 2.5 G to 2 G. Okay, so this is done to give additional protection to the flaps and also the wing structure. Lastly, we have VFE, which is the flaps extended speed. Okay, so yeah, we are done with this chapter. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give this a thumbs up, do subscribe if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.